Hi everyone, welcome to the Martial Way podcast. This week I have with me Shihan Tom Callahan. Welcome, sir.
Sounds weird.
Does it? That was going to be my first question to you. How does it sound to be called Shihan?
Other than my students, you're the first person to call me it because no one really knows yet. By the time this airs, it will be announced, I think. But
yes.
Yeah, it's weird. Feels good, but nothing's going to change. It's just a title,
Yeah.
But I'm very humbled by it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Tell us how it. I'll get an introduction a bit, but I'm curious how it all came to be. The new title.
I was in Japan about 7 or 8 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was about 6 months after I became chairman. And the head of International and Shihan Hamid out of Vancouver were sitting having dinner, and they both had mentioned to me that we think you should be Shihan. And I just said, well, I don't know, so what does that mean? They actually recommended me. Awesome. So I was just in Japan. I got home last night, so I'm really jet lagged right now. And if I nod off, just
I'll wake you up.
Slap me around a little bit. But anyway, so yeah, it was presented to me actually quite informally, because there was a formal presentation of Shihan Bosman, Shihan Koyama, and Shihan Okazaki in the Kyokushin-Kan world as Hachidans.
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that? Yeah, you probably saw that in Hanshi.
Mm-hmm.
So that was formal, and that was a big deal. So my Renshi Shihan status was more informal at Hambu Dojo, and but nonetheless, I was pretty blown away by it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Doesn't really mean much. It's just an honorable title,
But I mean, to be there, I mean, I'm assuming Kancho Royama was there.
Kancho Royama, yeah, and Henny Bosman was there, Shihan,
right.
And so yeah, but it was informal.
Yeah. So again, that was not quite the introduction, but I really wanted to get out there about you about the Shihan title. So for people who, I'm familiar with you from being online and your reputation in Kyokushin. For people who are not so familiar, with a little bit of a background on yourself. How you got started, and was Kyokushin your original art, and how you all got into this?
I think your dog wants to get out.
Oh no, that's my bedroom. She's probably going to go hide. But she's good. This is Lemon, yes.
The couch too. There's she left. She's on this side now.
Yes.
There she is, the dojo dog.
Yeah.
A lot of people that know me know the dog comes in the dojo. No, Kyokushin was not my first style. I grew up in Boston.
Oh, okay.
And I started with a style called Uechi-ryu, which you may be familiar.
I'm very familiar with Uechi. Yeah.
I started out in 1972, and did that for 3 or 4 years, and then my dad was a boxer, and so I did a lot of boxing. My uncle was a Golden Glove boxer,
mm-hmm.
And like most kids, I was just with lots of things: little judo, wrestling, boxing, martial arts, of course. And in college, we started a martial arts club, which was just an amalgamation of different styles. And then I think about 22 years now in Kyokushin.
22 years, wow.
Mm. Yeah.
Where did you start?
In Manhattan Beach, California, and I'm living in Colorado now.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, because that's where you were based in California, correct?
Yes, and I still have a school in Santa Monica, and
beautiful area. Oh my God.
Yes, and we have one in San Diego. My schools. The San Diego school is run by Sensei Angel Cruz, who just fought in the World Tournament, All Japan World Tournament. Sensei Daniel Jeter is in Santa Monica. But, we have now, in Kyokushin-Kan in the U.S. has 23 schools now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, so we're growing, and we're just formulating the foundation and structure and things like that. So we're real excited about 2018.
What brought you to Colorado? Were you just worried about falling off into the ocean, or?
Yeah, no. I actually bought a little house here about 5 years ago and was renting it out, and I just love it here. I love the mountains, and I was working with a startup music company in LA, and kind of stayed in the board and decided that I didn't want to do a day-to-day work anymore, and I wanted to start teaching more full-time. and I thought this was a good place for me to do that.
Well, it's a beautiful place. I've only been to Colorado once, California quite a few times, but Colorado only once, and it's a place I definitely want to get back. Maybe I'll hook you up when I'm there. I'll have to do some training under you.
Oh, geez, well, my honor.
Yeah. So when you were in Kyokushin over the years, you said 22 years, was that, during that training, did you get a chance to go to Japan at that time, or did you ever meet Sosai?
I've been to Japan, this was my 10th time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just got back, as I said, yesterday.
Yeah.
And, we're all with IKO1, of course.
Right, well, that was going to be my next question, yeah.
Well, it was still, we actually, oddly enough, joined Kyokushin-Kan when it started. And we went to Japan, but I wasn't my dojo, I was under another teacher, of course. And then after we were there about 9 or 10 months, my teacher had some issues and whatnot, and so we went back to IKO1, and I stayed there with them another 4 years. I joined Kyokushin-Kan and started my own, dojo in 2008, actually.
What brought you to Kyokushin-Kan and Kancho Royama? There's so many different systems or organizations out there now, as we all know.
I said in 2003, 2004, when Kyokushin-Kan was starting, and we went over there, it wasn't my doing; it was my sensei's doing. But I liked them very much when I met them, and we were there with them for 9 months before we were back to IKO1 because of the issues. But when I left IKO1, I really didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew I wasn't happy there. No disrespect to anybody that's IKO1 listening, So one of my kohai was friends with Kyokushin-Kan. They said, Sensei, why don't you go back to Kyokushin-Kan? And the thought really didn't occur to me until I said, oh, that's a good idea. So I left in April of 2008, and in July I went down to Japan on my own and met with them again and decided, okay, these are the people I want to be with. They're just a wonderful group of people, wonderful organization. Totally different kind of a vibe than anything else I've been involved with. Very warm, very friendly, very encouraging, and of course, incredible martial artists. And I've learned a ton since I've been there, and the world had sort of opened up to me when I joined Kyokushin-Kan.
Really? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I'm certainly not bashing anything.
No, of course.
The other organizations, some of them, not all of them, are much more insular. Mm-hmm. They don't really want you to be associating with anyone else. Kyokushin-Kan welcomed everyone with open arms, and they allowed me to cross-train. They didn't care if I cross-trained, which I love to do. Right. I'm a third-level Krav Maga as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah, I'd like to do a lot of stuff. I mean, I like to train, and I like to learn about all kinds of arts, And so anyway, they encouraged it rather than squashed it, and I really appreciated that. And I think Sosai was always learning and always experiencing different arts, and that's how Kyokushin actually started, right? So Kyokushin-Kan encourages that, and I really respected that a lot, and that's kind of how I fell in love with the organization, and it's been great. I haven't had a single issue since I've joined.
That's really, really good. I mean, it's unfortunate. Trust me, it's not just Kyokushin, it's other martial arts as well. They get this politics stuff always enters in, and yeah, it is unfortunate when you're kind of segregated from going to train with other people. I feel fairly fortunate too. As you know, I'm under Sensei Steve Fogarasi with the IFK.
I'm a fan of it. He knows it. I love Sensei Steve. He's a great artist, and you're lucky to be training under him. And I consider him a friend, even though we've never met in person.
Well, I think he feels the same. I think he has a lot of respect for you as well, and. But that's one of the things that drew me. Well, initially I was drawn in by Sensei Steve, but then IFK and their philosophy just being just so open and stuff. So I can totally relate on that side.
No, we both belong to the KWU, which of course
right, exactly,
are the IFK and Kyokushin-Kan, and so I mean. That whole idea of fighting united, yes. That whole phrase they use is beautiful because that's the way it should be.
Absolutely.
We're not there yet. We're still growing, and we're still more organizations are starting to form to come together, and it's really great to see.
Yeah. Have you been since you've been Kyokushin-Kan? Have you been exposed to any Taiki-ken training?
Yeah, I do. We short it to Iken now.
Yes.
Yeah, but I train Iken every day.
Oh, you do.
Every day. At least 15 minutes to a half hour every day. It's really part of our curriculum in a big way, especially at the level we're up here at our level. It really enhances our training a bit, especially as I get older. I'm 56 years old, so at my age now, it really helps me.
And how about for the Kyokushin side, the actual? Is there a connection there for you as well, or for other people who are fighting more? Do they find it's applicable for that, or are they keeping it?
Extremely so. Kancho Royama, as you know, it's a big part of our curriculum, and
yes.
I think it helps with the breathing. It helps with the fluidity in which you move. It helps with strength and patience. When you fight, you need patience, and it really helps with that. It's
got that soft style to it as well. I mean, Kyokushin is known as that such a hard system, so it seems to be a good balance to that.
But it's also it's actually a fighting. If you look at qigong or tai chi, it's actually a fighting aspect of that sort of. I mean, that's not literal, but it has explosive movement, explosive power in Iken. And when you see a lot of it, this fluidity, you don't see necessarily that explosive power until you get deeper into it. You start training more into it. When you're just learning it, you're not really doing the explosive power. You're learning about the breath control. You're learning about this fluid movements, things like that, which that alone is applicable to your fighting, of course. Like you said about the hard and the soft.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to search it out here myself, and there was nobody doing Iken here or Taiki-ken, but I did find some Ichuan and some close cousins, if you will, of it, and it's something that takes a long time to not only to learn but to feel any kind of proficiency in it.
Easy, but it's not.
Yeah, exactly. It looks real easy.
And they say, "Wow, it looks so easy," but it's not. I said, "Yeah, well, not that it's not like yoga, but when you look at yoga, it doesn't look difficult. If you ever done yoga, it's like,
I have, and yes, it's so hard." Yeah,
really hard. But I'll send you some videos if you like.
I'd be really curious. Yeah. I mean, and it was also one of the things. One of my favorites, if not my favorite fighter, was Hajime Kazumi. And you could definitely see it in his style too, and I think he's so heavily influenced by that.
And it teaches you to be more rooted in the ground, in the floor, and it drops your center of gravity more, and you're breathing through the Fukushiki Kyokuho breathing, which is the abdomen breathing more, lowers your center of gravity. You're not breathing in the chest and lifting your shoulders up. I mean, there's all these things that are exactly. And of course, Hajime Kazumi is master at that, But a lot of that comes from the Iken training, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and he talks about it himself, and I've seen a few, and he does, in his seminars and stuff. I've seen some of the stuff even that he's done in Russia. I was going to say recently, but it's probably a couple of years now. And it's that really grounded, and I mean that's applicable. I think not only in your fighting style, but if you could somehow transfer that into your life as well, I think it'd be fairly applicable.
That's really important, as you say. I mean, because it's a lot of breath. It's about breathing.
Yeah.
The foundation of life is breathing, correct?
Yeah, and I think a lot of us find our going through our days, especially it's so busy. I mean, I live in a massive city here, 5 million people, and a very intense career, and I think a lot of my day is left going. So it's just trying to bring that back down.
No, literally, you can sit for three minutes and do it, and it'll recenter you and ground you, and I do that all the time. If I get stressed, I definitely do just maybe one or two of the postures and breathing. All that breathing comes from India, yoga, and then to China, of course. And so there's something to it. It's not like, hey, this is something new. Let's try this. It's been around for thousands of years,
Exactly. That's what I usually tell people. If it wasn't working for the first 3,000 to 4,000 years, they may have stopped.
So there's something to it for sure, and I wasn't exposed to it until I met Kancho Royama, and there's some other people that are really into it that have inspired me to continue doing it, encouraged me to do it, and it was tough at first. I didn't have the patience for it, to be really honest with you. I'm kind of a high energy guy, but it's really taught me to bring everything down a little bit, relax a little bit, be patient, and it's really helped my life.
And on that note about helping your life, I mean, we talked about Kyokushin training and stuff, but what do you think? What are the lessons that you've taken from Kyokushin that you think have helped you in whether it doesn't have to be your career, it can be, but in life in general? Do you think you'd be a different person without having that martial art or Budo for such a long period of your time in your life?
Well, the key word is the Budo. It's not the sporting aspect of karate. It's the Budo aspect, which is your life, correct? So, yeah, I mean, I have no idea who I would be, what I would be, the training. But yeah, I mean, as we know, the old saying, never give up, right? That's what it means. So you never give up, you persevere, you overcome obstacles, but not just in the dojo. You apply this, as you had said, applicable. You apply this to everything, your family, your work, your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, your schoolwork. When you encounter these obstacles in daily life, which we all do, that you use your training in terms of not directly, but you use that perseverance part, that you can get through it and you will get through it. And you apply that same philosophy to the other parts of your life. And I mean, that's how I do it. And I think that's why we train. We don't really necessarily train because we're going to get in a fight in the street, even though that's a residual effect of being able to take care of yourself. But I certainly don't train because I'm afraid I'm going to get in a street fight when I walk down the street.
On that note, though, your training, do you put any focus, or how much, if you do, focus do you put on the self-defense aspect of it, for lack of a better word, or a fight application rather than sport?
Yeah, no, I mean, my students will tell you they call my Kyokushin street Kyokushin. They kind of joke to me about it because I'm not a big tournament guy. We do some tournaments, but because of it was our proximity to the other Kyokushin-Kan dojos and whatnot, but I do teach I call it street Kyokushin, or they call it street Kyokushin, because I apply a lot of the self-defense things I've learned on my own, things I've invented on my own, and things I've taken from Krav Maga, things I've taken from Judo, things I've taken from Jukkendo, which I've trained in with Sensei Nori Bunasawa. Just everything I've kind of picked up from other styles, friends, whatever, seminars I've gone to. Anything that works, I will use.
Yeah.
That's the way anything that actually is practical, I will use. And if it doesn't work, I mean, I have some of my top students I try stuff out on, and I tell them, no, you defend against this. And if they defend against it, it doesn't work, I toss it out.
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah. And what about kata? What's your feeling on kata? Do you actually use any applications from it, or do you keep it more just as a Kihon training tool?
It's not a tool. It's funny you're asking this question. Just last night with one of my students, we had this conversation, and when I hear people say, "Oh, Kyokushin doesn't punch to the face," or it's just you do the leg kicks, it's so off base. That comment's so off base. Because as you know, when you're doing kata, the kata is actually applicable to the street. When you're throwing a tetsui to the temple, or you're doing a nukite to the eyes, or you're doing a kingiri to the groin, or you're doing a hiji jodan to the jaw, you can't do that in a tournament. This is all kata. Yes. When you're doing, a kansatsigiri to the knee, can't do that in the tournament. A rocking gamanuchi, can't do that in the tournament. Hiji jodan, can't do that in the tournament. Tetsui to the temple, can't do that in the tournament.
But do you train for that, though? Does a person train for it?
Yeah, all these things in the kata are actually for the street.
Yes.
So there's so many good things about kata: the breath, the balance, the body mechanics, the muscle memory, all the things that we all know. That if your listeners are listening and you've been training for a while, you all know how important kata is to your well-being, to your movement, to your body mechanics. But you really need to understand the bunkai, the application of what you're doing. If you don't, you are getting something from it. You're getting all those other things, the mechanics, the breath, the movement, but you really have to understand the bunkai to be able to apply that in the street. Okay. Now, you're going to do this in the street? No. But are you going to do this to the eyes? Maybe. If you do that kata enough, when that movement is there, that opening is there, you'll take it because your body memory, your muscle memory is there. I think people that say, "Oh, kata's not necessary. You just be a kickboxer otherwise." Go ahead and get the bag and spar and do all that, but you're missing the art. You're missing the street of karate. I think personally. So I really defend kata in a big way, and I'll debate anybody on it.
I'm actually really glad. I'm happy to hear you say that. I mean, it was kata and bunkai was such a big part of my life even before I got into Kyokushin, because I've been in martial arts before, and I'd actually seen a video recently, and they were talking about kata and bunkai, and it was the first time I'd actually heard somebody kind of lay it out in a way that made sense to me, because when I originally had learned many years ago, I'm 47 now. So when I started Taekwondo in my teens, but when I got into my 20s, I was doing Kempo. Yeah. The way it was laid out to us was you learn the application first. You would actually learn the actual self-defense application, how something be applied. Later, it was you would show the kata, because the kata was just used as just a book, a reference tool, something so you don't forget it, and you can go back and you can do solo practice just to keep it ingrained. But the emphasis was actually on the application and
as well as it should be. I mean, if you don't, you're just doing kata, then I can understand the derogatory comments that, well, kata is not really applicable to the fighting. But if you have a good teacher or you understand the bunkai, then you can actually see the application in the street. Like I said, you may not be able to apply it in a tournament situation.
Exactly.
But, I mean, you can apply all the different aspects of it, the breathing, the body mechanics, the balance, coordination, all those things can be applicable to a tournament fight. But the actual strikes in the blocks, I mean, the kicks and the blocks and the strikes, whatever, that you cannot use in the tournament, they will be applicable in the street.
I totally agree, and they may not look pretty, and they may not look like they should in the kata. They may look like completely ugly, but your body will be moving in some sort of way that may get you out of harm's way. That is something that you've picked up through some of that training.
One of the things I really liked about Krav Maga, and I trained with...
I knew you were going to go there.
Well, my opinion, I trained, and one of my best friends is Roy Elghanayan, R-E-K-M, and Marina. You probably have seen his videos. Yeah. Amazing martial artist, and he's like my little brother, and I trained with him for a long time. And I really believe in the Krav system. You don't have to do it for years and years, but it's all about the soft targets, and once you understand where those targets are, and then you couple that with the Kyokushin and other things you may have learned, then you really can understand where to strike, and it'll become muscle memory. And so when you're in a real fight, that you're not going to be doing tournament fighting.
Yeah.
Kyokushin tournament fighting, which is a good thing too. I mean, you need that. You overcome fear. You have body conditioning. It's stamina. It's it's competition. It's spirit. I mean, all these great things about tournaments. I'm not taking anything away from it, but there's two different things. The deep part of karate is not the tournament part. That's the sporting aspect. The real part is the Budo, which is not the tournament part. Right. So that's what Kancho Royama stresses big time. Is about we are a Budo art.
It's nice to hear that. I mean, I think that's forgotten sometimes. Kyokushin, like many other martial arts, have become so popular as a sport that sometimes I think those roots and why it all started was forgotten, or has been forgotten or put aside.
We try to go back. We try to take a giant step backwards and get back to the foundation of the tradition, notwithstanding the tournament still, but go back to the real truth, that ultimate truth that we talk about. So
and what is that ultimate truth? I think I did a lot of thinking about that myself. Sorry.
What do you think the ultimate truth is? I have my own opinion on it, but what do you think it is? In a short sentence.
In a short sentence. Wow, putting me on the spot. That's interesting. I haven't had that one happen to me yet. That's a good question. Because I haven't actually been put on the spot to answer it like that. I think for me, the ultimate truth. I hope this doesn't get me in trouble. Speaking about, when I read about, and it's short. I know you want a short sentence, but it's hard for me. When I read about Sosai. And how he founded Kyokushin, from the different training that he did, and he came together.
You paused.
Oh no, are we freezing? Is it okay now?
No, we did for a second. We're back. Yep.
So yeah, when I what I would read about Sosai and the training that he did and why he was creating Kyokushin, as you said, it could be a hard style and to overcome physical obstacles and stuff, but there was this also breaking down of the character, of the ego, of the internal struggles that we have, and so for me it became. The ultimate truth was almost like an exposure, an exposing of my own flaws, my own ego, my own. I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
I agree with you 100%. I just maybe encapsulated that a little more, but to me, the ultimate truth is knowing yourself.
There you go. Thank you. See, that's why you're Shihan.
So, I mean, you have to look in the mirror. I mean, you have to know yourself, right? Socrates even said it, right?
Yes.
It's
know thyself.
It's knowing yourself, and then if you're true to yourself and you really know who you are, you can look in the mirror with all your flaws. We all have our flaws, and we're always striving for perfection, right?
Yeah.
We'll never get there. But the training, we're always striving to become a better person, and develop our character. And so, to me, the ultimate truth is knowing yourself and being honest with yourself. And so that's what we strive for in the dojo and outside the dojo, using our training.
It's nice to hear. I think one of the hardest things for anybody to overcome, quite frankly, is the ego. I think it's something that we all struggle with. I feel like I'm freezing a little bit on you. I hope I'm not looking like I have. I did a podcast recently with Terry Burkert.
I love Terry, by the way. Terry, if you're listening.
Terry is awesome. He's one of my favorite guys now.
He's great. And Shihan Judd, of course. Judd and I talk, I wouldn't say every day, but we talk at least once or twice a week. And he's a huge inspiration for me. He spent a week at my house in the States last year. I'm going to see him again this coming year. And so you've had a couple of great guys on your podcast. So I'm honored to be.
Thanks. I hope. No, it's my honor, and hopefully the momentum carries on. And speaking of some of these guys that you've been training with, like Judd, you're also known to train with a couple celebrities. One of them known for a little role that he did in Rocky.
Oh yeah, I just talked to him today.
Oh, Dolph, yeah. So
Dolph,
how did that friendship happen? How did that training happen?
That's an interesting story, actually. About 6 years ago, maybe 10 years ago now. Actually, it was about 10 years ago. I had a business meeting at a hotel in Los Angeles in Westwood, and I walked in. I was a little early, and there was a bar there, so I went to grab a beer, and there was a guy standing at the bar there, and I got my beer, and I noticed on the side of the face it was Dolph. So I just said, "Os," and he turned around like, Os. He didn't know who I was, and I was. I think I don't know what rank I was then. Maybe I was a knee down. And anyways, we chatted for a little bit, and he bought me a drink. And I gave him a business card and said, "Oh, come train with us someday." And I never heard from him. And then I moved to Marina Del Rey, which is another town.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago now, my wife and I were in a little restaurant. And as I walked out, he was walking in to this little tiny Persian restaurant. And again, I said, "Os," and he had a sweatsuit on, and he said, "Os," and I reminded him who I was, and we had a beautiful chat. And he said he was across the street at the beach doing kata just then. I said, "What kata were you doing?" He goes, "I was doing Yamsu." I said, "Okay." And so he said, "I really want to put the gi on and train somewhere again." I said, "Here's my new card. I have my own dojo in Santa Monica now." Again, didn't hear from him for 3-4 months, and all of a sudden I got a call, and my assistant at my office said, "Dolph Lundgren's on the phone?" And come on, that's not true. I said, "Oh yeah, really it is." And then he trained, and so we've been friends ever since. And he trains with us, and just an amazing guy. I mean, when we're together, nothing about acting, nothing about the business. It's always about Budo. It's always about showing each other videos and talking about karate and old times and new times. And he's a machine. He loves to train.
Yeah, I mean, I see. I love that. Even though, he's obviously very famous, but he's always hung on to those roots and the Kyokushin roots, and he's still, that humble character that comes along with it. And you're not the first person to tell me this about him, so it's pretty neat to hear. I wonder what came first, the humble character, or the Kyokushin training. or was there an influence?
He started young, as you know. He was like 16, 15, 16. We started, and he had a rough childhood, like a lot of us, and he overcame a lot of that by training. Brian Fitkin was his teacher, and up in Sweden, and he's had a remarkable career. And I introduced Judd to him, Shihan Judd, when he came in, and then we had a lunch with Yamaki Shihan and Judd and Dolph and me. We had just a wonderful time.
So are you in touch with Yamaki as well?
Maki's student Toshiki used to train with me once a week. So she and Yamaki and I are very close. We were only living about 10 miles away from each other. Mm-hmm. And I trained one of his fighters all the time, and we have a really nice relationship. Yamaki Shihan is incredibly humble and obviously one of the best ever. Mm-hmm. And I'm in awe of that guy. He's just he embodies the true Budo spirit. He's just an amazing individual. And no ego. Says, Sensei, will you help me with Toshiki train? And Toshiki would come train with me all the time. And there was no like my student, like that kind of thing. It was like, let's share, let's make him the best fighter he can be. And obviously a huge honor for me to be able to do that. And so Shihan Yamaki is fantastic.
That's very, very cool. Well, I was actually just today when I was waiting to speak with you, I watched that short documentary that was done, Hero and All of Us.
Yeah.
How did that come? That's very, very cool. How did that happen?
Honestly, I got a call out of the blue one day from someone I never heard of and said, because of my music background, they were interested in the music and martial arts together and how that's affected me and how I can reconcile both or how it works together or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they said, we were calling from Jet Li's company. And I said, okay. And they said, we'd like to come interview you. And I said, sure. When? And they said, we'll call you. And I said, all right. I didn't hear from them for a few weeks. And then one day on a Thursday, they called me and said, hey, can we come to your dojo tonight and interview you under camera? And I said, well, I'm teaching tonight. Why don't you just come and shoot the class? And just all off the cuff. There was no anything. It was just like the guy just had the camera, filmed my regular class. And of course, all my students couldn't come, because you can never have everybody at once, unfortunately. Yeah. And then they had full editing. I didn't have anything to do with the editing at all. And they did it 100%, and they sent it to me. I'm thinking, okay, nothing's perfect. I would have liked to have this, would have liked to have more of that. And then they ran it, and it was. Then they called. Then actually they did a Skype call from Taiwan with me. So they did the video, and then they did an interview with me. So it was wonderful. They're great people over there too. Now they're going to be doing one with Judd and Dolph.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the scheduling it. They called me to help schedule it, so I'm scheduling those now for them.
Oh, that's really, really cool. And actually, is Jet Li's company?
Jet Li has a jetli.com.
Yeah, I knew that, but I didn't know because sometimes people.
That guy's a media mogul, man.
I've heard.
He's doing incredible stuff. I don't know him. The guy that runs his company is the one that did the interview with me, and then there's somebody else that actually shot the footage that lived in LA. They hired. I don't know who it was, but.
Yeah, it will turn out really cool. Now I'll be curious to see this other one now.
Yeah, they haven't shot him yet, but we're trying to do. I think we're trying to do Dolph's in December.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. With Dolph and Judd together or separately?
No, they'll be separate. They're trying to do both of them at separate times. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're trying to figure out how to do it.
And you were alluding to your career throughout our chat and your music. What is your? And I know your brother's a musician as well because you shared something with me.
Yeah. My brother's a classical composer. Like he's done amazing things. He's like when these people that go to the classical guitar competitions around the world, Russia, all over the world, they play all these famous pieces. And everybody's dead except my brother. They perform his pieces, and that's usually the performance piece that they win with. So he's getting really well known as a classical composer at guitar. My background, I was a touring musician when I was really young, in my 20s.
Me too.
Doing rock. Were you?
Yes.
Well, we'll have to talk about that offline a little more.
Yeah.
Then when I was about 25, I got in the record business, and I worked in the record business for 30 years, and I had my own record label for a while, and managed a lot of artists, and did all that, and that's how I made my living. I always did my martial arts and my music business together. It wasn't always easy.
Yeah. But, are you still involved in that?
I'm retired. I'm sort of retired now. I had a licensing company that I was chief creative officer for.
Mm-hmm.
Did that for 2.5 years. It still exists. It's growing very, very quickly. The company's called Song Trader, and but now I'm just kind of teaching and doing some consulting work. When people need some help on something else, if it makes sense for me, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm. So now you have all that time to train.
Yeah, I am training. Actually, I'm training a lot. I feel so good. I'm training every day. And
you look amazing.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
And I feel really good. I mean, I've had a bad hip for about 2 months, and just since I got back from, just when I was just finishing up Japan, it just started healing, and I was dreading getting on the flight. But after the next morning, after I got up this morning, it's been feeling great. So,
what kind of issues are you having with your hip?
My hip, and I started thinking about Dolph, who had a hip replacement, Judd, who had a hip replacement. So I kept thinking, oh man, do I have to have a hip replacement? I hope not at my age now. But
I have to tell you about something. I don't know if it'll help you or not, but I've been preaching this to everybody since I discovered
all
it.
Ears.
So I was starting to get a lot of. I'm 47, and I work out a lot. Like I'm at the dojo at least 3 days a week, and then I also do some CrossFit and stuff. And my thing, I was finding my joints, not my hips, but my knees. Actually, that's not true. My hip. Yeah. And so I was in a store recently, and I met this guy who works with Toronto Maple Leafs, which is our hockey team here, right? And he was telling me about this product that they all use, like they're told they have to use it, basically.
Wow.
And it's a collagen, a collagen-based product. So I read locked in. I was like a little skeptical, and he's like, "Try it." He's like,
I take collagen every day, the powder.
Yeah, so that's what I do. So I started taking it, and well, there you go. You have my secret, because I was going to suggest.
I take curcumin,
right?
Which is the active ingredient in turmeric.
Yes, yeah.
For arthritis and things like that, and I take the collagen. And
have you found it helped? Because it really helped.
I think it's really helped. I don't have any knee problems or elbow problems. It was just my hip, and I think that was. What happened was I was doing a lot of kicking, and then what I did when I was sore, I overstretched. So I took the big ball and I put my knee on it, and I kept stretching, and I think I was overstretching. So I was just overusing it. Yeah. So I had gone to a chiropractor. He says, "Look, I think you just need to rest," which I hate to do, as probably you do too. Yeah. We all hate to rest.
You never want to hear that.
So I go to the gym and I work out with weights and I do all my Kihon and everything, but I wasn't kicking for like 6 weeks, and I think it's finally starting to heal. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
How was Judd's hips? Because you mentioned that he did have them replaced.
I'll go to Judd in a second, but when Dolph, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but he had both his hips replaced not long ago, right before he just did Aquaman.
Right.
And he did it here in Colorado. So I went to Vail with him and helped rehab for 4 or 5 days. And after a week, he was already doing squats. It was amazing.
It's incredible.
And with Judd, I don't know if he's talked to you about this, but the guy is kicking better with his new hip. It's just they have it down to such a science. The knees, not so much.
Yeah.
But the hip, they have it down really well. So it's not the worst thing that will happen to you.
No, science is definitely starting to catch up with this stuff, and I just think we have a poor design. Our bodies are just not designed well.
The Mawashigiri, that's not natural,
No, I don't think anything we're doing is quite natural. I don't think smashing bone to bone is natural either.
Well, also, the Sanchin stance as well. As well as I do, when you start doing Sanchin stance, the outside of your ankles hurt, your hips a little hurt. Then we get used to it, and you do it, and it doesn't even bother you. I mean, you get a white belt doing this, and they're looking at you like, "What, are you crazy?" But I started the Sanchin stance from my Okinawan-based Uechi-ryu back when I was 11.
Right,
so that was always just part of me. So, but yeah, some of the stances, some of the things we do are not so great for some of your joints.
Yeah, Uechi is a very hard style as well.
Very hard style. My teacher was amazing. He's still teaching. He's Hanshi now. And it was all the arm pounding I do and a lot of the body conditioning I do comes from Uechi-ryu, actually. I incorporated.
I was going to ask that.
And a lot of the fish blocks I do like this, all these things, that all comes from Uechi-ryu. And I use them all the time, and I incorporate them into my Kyokushin because they're effective. If something's effective, I use it.
Yeah. How long were you in Uechi? You started as a kid, didn't you?
3-4 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And then the dojo moved away. My mom wouldn't drive me that far. Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was obsessed with martial arts. Just obsessed.
You're 47. What was it, Bruce Lee? What got you into it? The Green Hornet or something? Or?
It's a combination of a couple things. I love the first ninja movies that came out.
Never saw them.
You didn't see them? Like Revenge of the Ninja and all that kind of stuff?
Any of those movies. I didn't.
So it was a combination between that and Bruce Lee, and then as I trucked along in my teens, all the Jean-Claude came out and all that kind of stuff. So there was always something there. There was actually, I was just talking about the other day, there was another movie that came out that was a huge influence on me. And not many people have seen it. It was done by Barry Gordy, called The Last Dragon.
Oh no, I haven't. Barry Gordy, the music guy.
Yeah, Barry Gordy, the music guy, did this in the early '80s, like a very Motown kind of feel to the movie.
Dragon.
Yeah, and it's called The Last Dragon. It was a student of Ron Van Cleef. His name was I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. He's one of these guys with one name, Tamak, Taimak. Mm-hmm. Absolutely phenomenal martial artist. And I was talking about it recently because I was quite young when it came out. I think I was, maybe 13, 14. And I actually would go to the theater every day and stay there and hide so I could watch the next for like 5 days while I was there. But yeah, that was a big influence on me.
You had some of your older viewers here will remember David Carradine.
Oh God, yeah.
Show Kung Fu. That's where it got me.
Oh, really?
I started in '72. I think the TV show maybe started in '71 or something. '72, I don't know, right around there. Yeah. So then of course the Green Hornet TV show with Bruce Lee playing Kato and all that.
Yeah.
But I was my dad put me in it because I was just such a rough kid. I was very hyper. I was in Boston, so I was fighting all the time and just really, I was a tough little kid, really skinny and small, so I had that complex, so I was fighting all the time. And when my dad tried to put me in the Uechi-ryu class, it was only adults only, and my dad had to keep talking to the teacher to let me come in, so I was the only kid in the class. And I got beat up pretty good then, I remember, because they were tough. Do you know Tom Flynn? Sensei Tom Flynn, Shihan Tom Flynn. He's in Vermont. He's a Kyokushin guy, but he was doing Uechi-ryu in Boston as well, but a different dojo. But we're the same age, so it's pretty amazing. We know a lot of the same people.
Yeah, I was exposed to it a little bit when I lived in Nova Scotia. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Nova Scotia. It's on the east coast of Canada. And what's that?
Know my geography.
Oh, yeah? Okay. We're relatively close to Boston. I got down to Boston a few times. Right. But yeah, when I started, there just wasn't a lot. Taekwondo, so I took Taekwondo. Mm-hmm. It was fun, but it wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't doing something for me.
You learned to put your hands up, right?
Pardon me?
Eventually, you learned to put your hands up.
Yeah, that's right. Well, luckily, I was actually trying to find him today. That the first teacher I had, his name was Kwon Kim, and he was a hardcore guy. He was in ITF, so it wasn't.
Well, the old school, the real Taekwondo was as good as anything else, but it became something else in life. Yeah.
This man trained so hard. I remember going in. I would go early because the way my school schedule was, and he would be training by himself. And he had this big wooden, like almost the size of a telephone pole, downstairs in there, and he would just whack that thing with his shins, and that was his conditioning for his shins. Like he was an animal.
You think he's still around?
I couldn't find him, so I'm going to search again.
Ask your viewers right now. They should maybe can help you.
If anybody knows Young Kwon Kim, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Yeah, he was actually a big influence on me. Now that I think about it, he was so serious. He was just very stoic. And it looked like the Taekwondo that they did, and I never did it that long, maybe about a year. But it looked nothing like what I see today in the Taekwondo, like with the bouncing, the hands down, the Olympic style. No, right. It looked much more closer to Kyokushin, quite frankly.
What do you think about this Kyokushin in the Olympics? Come on. It sucks, right? Come on.
I do. Honestly, I don't like it. What I'm afraid is going to happen is the same as every other thing that
we're all afraid of that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, only time will tell, I guess. But we've got to stick to the Budo aspect of it, and hopefully, hopefully people don't judge. Well, it's just time will tell. Let's just wait and judge it later, I guess.
Is it actually in yet, though?
I don't know. Has it been accepted? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I don't.
We're freezing again.
Oh, there you are.
There we go. Yeah, I don't know if it's been accepted or not. I know that in IKO they're definitely training towards it. I mean, I know they're bringing in people from Shotokan and some other places that are working with them for perhaps I think is for some of those Kyokushin guys might go fight that point style. But yeah, I don't know. It's not. I'm not a big sport fan of things. That's not the reason I got involved in martial arts to begin with. It's it was definitely more on the character, the building of character, the overcoming of internal obstacles and things of that nature. And it looked cool.
Residual value, as I tell my student, is that you are going to be able to defend yourself, but that shouldn't be the reason you actually train. Yeah. There's nothing wrong if you want to become a tournament fighter. I'm probably not the right teacher for you. I can teach it. I teach a lot. I mean, a lot of my fighters, I've done well. But I think it's more of a reflection of the training as opposed to training to be a tournament fighter.
Right. What's the Kyokushin scene as a whole like in the United States right now? I mean, one of the things I'm hoping to do with this podcast, with my site, The Martial Way, is I'm trying to promote Kyokushin.
Well, you're doing an amazing job, and you've got 95,000 listeners already. You're young, so young in terms of your podcast. I mean, you're doing a service, I think, because you talk about Budo, you talk about tradition, you talk about the truth, and not necessarily a sporting aspect, even though there is an aspect of it. But I mean, you don't focus on trophies; you focus on karate. I think it's a huge thing. The United States is going through a transformation, in my opinion, and I think it's kind of getting like this. There's one branch that is going one way, and Kyokushin-Kan, as of now, is the largest organization in the United States. As we just had 12 new dojos join us, we have 23 dojos now. And Kyokushin-Kan, as we talked about, is very Budo based with Kancho Royama. So my goal in my position is to continue to follow Kancho Royama's philosophy and to try to get more dojos to join us that are coming from different organizations that are unhappy with their organization, to join Kyokushin-Kan and get back to the truth and get back to the basics and the foundation of what Sosai started, as opposed to the Olympics and sport and all that stuff. And I think it resonates with people. I think people that have been around for a while, especially third and fourth downs, are saying, you know what, we're dying to get back to the truth. And so they're coming to join us now because they like the way we're teaching, and of course it's coming from Humble in Kancho. So I think that's continuing to grow, and I think 2018 is going to be an awesome year for us. In 2000, with that fact.
That's really good. Why do you think though it and the same goes for here in Canada, except for Quebec? Quebec's very strange in that way. Quebec Kyokushin is huge, and it's very popular there. It's got a huge following. There's a gazillion dojos, a gazillion tournaments. But I'm wondering why the rest of Canada, English-speaking Canada, and then down through the United States, why it never really took hold like... Pardon me?
You know why?
I'm just waiting for you to say it.
The Westerners are pussies. Come on. We don't like... They're afraid of hard work. They're afraid of pain. Afraid of... they want to have a little trophy. I mean, it's a hard style. Yeah. It's hard. And it requires a lot of dedication and commitment. And, people's lives, and with respect to people that have a difficult time with Kyokushin, it requires a lot of commitment and a lot of dedication. And people's lives are very busy.
Yeah.
And so I don't fault them. I really don't fault them for it. It takes a special kind of person to be a Kyokushin and a dedicated one. With regard to Montreal, we have 3 great dojos with Kyokushin Khan up there, and we're actually bringing Kancho in June, end of May, I think we're bringing him to Montreal. So we're going to have a North American thing there. Anyone's welcome. So any of the KWU people are also welcome, of course.
Great.
But yeah, I think in the United States, it just takes the Westerners are really they're more sport oriented, I think, in a lot of ways. I think MMA has really taken over, and there's a lot of reasons. It's not just one reason. It's a hard style. Like, people don't like to get hit.
It's so funny because I went into it because I wanted to get hit.
That's right. I know, like Terry. Perfect. He likes to get hit. I practice my blocking a lot because I always say to my students, self-preservation is number 1. So let's become great blockers. And, we body condition a lot, as you know. You've seen videos and stuff. But I really am big on not getting hit as much as possible, so you can then counter and you can actually fight. Because if you're getting hit, anyone can get knocked out. So you got to be careful of getting knocked out. If you're knocked out or knocked on the ground, you can't fight.
Absolutely. Sorry.
And I'm just saying, you're not going to get kicked probably in the street so much. So I really focus on having really good hands and good blocking hands, and then and from there you can start teaching countering and creating openings, things like that for counter. But self-preservation is number 1, so you can continue fighting or get out of there.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm just joking. I actually don't like being hit, but I did. It is something that I wanted to overcome because I'd never been in a style before that. Like I always said, not only did I not hit somebody, I had never been hit before. But in my own training, and you're sounding actually a lot like Sensei Steve right now. He's very big on that too. Like, why do you want to stand there and just absorb all this stuff? Wouldn't it be better to be able to move?
In a real fight, like we talked about earlier, is messy, and you are going to get hit. So you need the body conditioning, because you're going to get hit. But you just said something interesting, which another thing I do talk to my students about not just being hit, but actually hitting full force. Now, in a real fight, you're going to hit full force anyway. But the difference is with us, with the training of hitting full force, is that you're going to be accurate and you're going to hit properly with proper technique, not just be wild. You're going to have the same strength because the cortisol is going through your veins, and you're going to have a lot of strength. But with our training, because we do get hit and hit full force, you won't be so myopic in your vision. You'll be able to hear better, because in a real fight, you can't hear very well. Your vision gets tunnel vision.
Yeah.
But with the training, you can hear better, you can see better. Your accuracy with your strikes will be better. Same strength as someone that doesn't have the training, but you'll be more accurate and more calm, and you can think a little more, and you can be fighting with your brain a little more. So that's where the training comes in my opinion.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I mean, you could see a million YouTube videos like it where people, I don't care what they've been training, unless they've actually had some real contact, it all goes out the window.
It all goes out the
Yeah, your brain really needs that exposure.
We have to learn to get hit, and not let it throw us off our game, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Continue to be focused and clear-headed as much as possible.
What's in your plans now? You're retired. You're living the life. You're living the dream.
I'm tired. I still have to make some money, but 2018 for me is to really continue to grow the organization that we have here, and a lot of the new dojos coming in, we need to get them in sync with the Kyokushin-Kan curriculum, because we do some things a little bit different, Iken being one of them.
Right.
And every organization does things a little bit differently. So do we freeze up? Are you okay?
No, are we going? Do I look like I have Bell's palsy again?
No, don't say that. But yeah, so that's my 2018, and then we're going to bring Kancho over, and I just did a seminar in Seattle right before we went to Japan. I'm going to be going to Florida, and I'm going to be going to Switzerland with Nicholas Albrecht and Shihan Henny Bosman, I think in June, to do a seminar, and I'll probably do a few more seminars. So I love doing that because everyone really wants to learn. That's one of the things I love about Kyokushin. people kind of throw their egos away, and of course I certainly don't know everything at all, but if I'm offered to come in and teach, it's not weird at all. It's very communal, and it's very democratic in a way, and everyone has something to offer, and everyone has something to learn, and everyone has something to. And when I go there, there's always a student teaching me something as well. Oh, Sensei, do you know this? You do that? I said, oh, that's great. So I'm always learning something, and so traveling for me has been an education for me as well.
That's great. If people want to find you and you find your dojo, where are you located? What's the best way to find you?
I have so many pages, but Facebook's the easiest way. My personal dojo is a World Budo Arts. So we have a World Budo Arts. We have World Budo Arts San Diego, World Budo Arts Boulder, and of course Kyokushin Khan is an organization. So my personal websites: Kyokushin-Kan LA, World Budo Arts Boulder, World Budo Arts San Diego, and then just plain World Budo Arts. You'll find it somewhere.
And on Facebook, like you said, just searching for yourself.
I don't even have a website, it's just don't have it.
Well,
we're going to build something for the Kyokushin-Kan USA. We have a Kyokushin-Kan USA page, but it's really just for instructors. And so we share knowledge there. We talk about our dojos and what we need to do, what we're lacking, how we want to grow, when do we want to have tournaments, when do we want to have seminars, instructors camps, or things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just Facebook. It's the easiest, I think.
Yeah, it's brought a lot of us together. I hate promoting this kind of stuff, but man, God, I know I feel awkward.
I feel awkward too. You want to hear something awkward? I'm sitting with Kancho at the table in Japan 3 days ago, and he picks up his phone. He has a flip phone still. It's not a smartphone. And he says in broken English and then through a translator that his wife follows me on Instagram. I'm thinking, what? And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's my personal page, and it's my personal page, and I'm freaking out looking at my Instagram. What do I have on my personal Instagram page? And there was nothing too bad on there, but I was embarrassed and honored at the same time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I was scared to death at the same time, honestly. But Kancho is really one of those guys that likes to laugh and will put his arm around you and will joke with you. He's not that stern guy,
He does seem like
his karate is amazing. I mean, he's 70 years old, but he's a warm individual, and so is the whole technical team.
Yeah.
So, but he was joking with me, and he says, "Oh, my wife follows you on Instagram." Okay.
That's hilarious.
Scared the crap out of me.
Well, I know that you said you have to get off and teach actually tonight.
I teach.
Yeah, so
we'll teach tonight. 10 minutes.
So thank you very much, Shihan.
Well,
get used to that.
I appreciate that, and I just want to say once again, Scott, that I appreciate what you're doing. I speak for a lot of other people that appreciate what you're doing. It's not just me.
Thank you.
I mean, everyone knows what your podcast is, your Facebook page, and you're doing the Kyokushin world a really great service.
Wow,
you're bringing people together. You're sharing knowledge, and we all are learning. And I know that you've only done 3. I know of podcasts, but I know you're going to have a lot more. And as you grow, we're going to grow with you, and we're going to support you, and we're going to share your podcast with others. And I want to see you as the place to go for knowledge. That's what I want to see. I want to see Scott Heaney as the place to go.
God, look at the time. I gotta.
No, you deserve it. You deserve it. It's a lot of work what you're doing, and I respect that. I know that I can speak with Shihan Judd and Sensei Terry that feel the same way, and
thank you. It really means a lot.
However I can help you, whatever I can do to support you. And again, Sensei Steve, you have a great sensei there.
Yes, I do.
And just give him my best when you see him.
I will, definitely. It's funny how I know you got to run, but the starting of this whole blog, it's interesting. When I had done, as I mentioned, Taekwondo, and I did Kempo, and I got a black belt in Kempo and all this kind of stuff, but I never really felt like a real, I used to say legit martial arts, because I never really been struck, I never hit somebody, that kind of thing. And actually, one of the other things I was influenced by when I was a kid was the Fighting Black Kings. I saw this documentary.
Of course.
Yeah, so I knew about Kyokushin, so I'm searching out an instructor, and I had heard about Sensei Steve Fogarassi just online, just Googling, and then I find out that he's here in Toronto. So now I'm in, I guess, I don't know where I was then, late 30s, early 40s, whatever. So I'm had been out of martial arts for a few years. I decided I'm going to go back and I'm going to do Kyokushin. Why I chose, that late in life to try something that hard. So I went up there I still remember it was a Friday night. I drive my car up and I sit outside and I'm like, okay, it's not too late. I can still put the car in reverse and go.
I have enough gas to get home.
Yeah, that's right. But I decided, you know what? I'm here. So I went in. It was a small dojo at that time. And Friday nights they would do sparring and stuff. And so he wouldn't allow a new student to spar, but he knew I had a bit of a background. I got my ass kicked and learned quickly that I didn't know how to fight at all. Gassed out in one round, like the whole thing. And so
video of that?
What's that?
The video of that?
Oh God, thank God, no. But the really cool part was I was leaving and they were kind of gathering around and I didn't know what was going on. They were like meeting in the middle of the dojo and they're like, where are you going? It's Sensei Steve's birthday.
Oh, wonderful. Great.
And so my first day was his birthday and they invited me to stay and they were just so welcoming and I've never left. The dojo has changed now and he's really grown with it. And one of the things with the blog was like, I love writing. So I decided, and I asked permission actually of Sensei Steve if it would be okay, like if I just start chronologically putting in my, all these entries, this about my training and what it's a meaning to me. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So I did it just for sheer fun, like just something to capture my own thoughts, and it was applied philosophy, and it just started growing and growing.
That's because it's honest. What you're doing is honest. You're not trying to do something that you're not. You're doing it for the right reasons. And this is the ultimate truth, right?
Well, there you go. It's funny because people ask me, "Do you make
money
off this thing?" Sorry.
It's happened. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen organically for you, and because it's coming from the right place. And as soon as if you ever become fake with that and try to steer it, it will become disingenuous, yeah. Right? So just keep staying true to the honesty of what you're doing. You honestly are trying to learn. And you're interested in me, you're interested in Judd, you're interested in these people.
That's all it is.
And that shows. And I can't wait till other people start coming to you. And if you need any help whatsoever, if you want, Shihan Yamaki doesn't speak English, but I'll get Toshiki who can translate. Maybe get Shihan Yamaki and Toshiki to do one for you. I'd love for them. Cameron Quinn Shihan, who's amazing.
Yeah, I know. He's
dear
definitely
friend.
On my list. Yeah.
Cameron Shihan, excuse me, Cameron, if you're listening, he's wonderful. He's a really good friend. He's talk about knowledgeable. This guy knows everything. Yeah. He was Sosai's interpreter for 17 years. He was wrote one of the great books of all time.
Yeah. Well, thank you a lot. I really, really appreciate that. Have a great night. Have a great class. Be safe, and congratulations again.
Well, I appreciate it. Anybody reach out to me anytime you want.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Don't hang up, though.